Do you have your money? Let's just move to get the money.
Well, you know what, at 4 o'clock on Friday, like 5 minutes till, they wanted to try to close,
Oh.
and
You didn't have the right title company, because my title company was closed, it's cash, right?
no,
I went back.
no, it was Michelle, she was amazing, I loved her. But they didn't even have all the documents they needed, so it closed yesterday,
It did.
and it was water, I don't even know what I thought it was. I don't know.
Follow the money, Tony. Follow the money. There you go. All right, do we have everything else organized? Or another minute, or you're okay?
Ready to go.
Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Thank you all for being here. We're going to try and cover a lot of information. Some of it may just whet your appetite for later. I want to get bogged down here, but if you have questions, be sure to ask. So, the Historic District Design Guideline document, which is a working draft, kicked out yesterday afternoon. This is the little document.
Wow.
This is just for Heights East, West, and South. Although similar documents will be prepared for every historic district, and it will be the prototype for all future historic districts. What you've got to remember is that every subdivision in the city of Houston older than 50 years qualifies for a historic district. So if a developer moves into Winlow Place and starts tearing down a house and building Philip Johnson's glass house, just 10% of the people could make an application and start a historic district, and then that would stop all demolitions until the process worked its way through there. So as people tear down more houses, and as the economy improves, people will tear down more houses. You're going to see more historic districts. The purpose of these historic districts, I've determined, is to keep the size and scale of the homes exactly as they were when the subdivision was created. It's not necessarily much more than that. So if you have a bungalow subdivision, the goal of everything is to preserve those bungalows, and anything new needs to be in scale with the bungalow, okay? It's not even so much about keeping the houses as it is keeping the additions, keeping the construction, keeping the garages all in scale. So this is a working draft, and there's a huge meeting at the Heights Fire Station next Tuesday at 6 p.m. and they will attempt to go over the city of Houston, and their representatives will go over this document to the best of their ability. And there'll be a draft period for you to submit comments, and there'll be some more hearings at the HHC, and then it'll get adopted, and then it'll go to the city council, who will have the final say. Probably most important that we have people speaking at city council. Kathleen and I are going to be the most knowledgeable people about this draft that are not on the payroll somewhere. So if you have questions, you're going to have to go to Kathleen and I, and we're going to attempt to educate everyone we can about what it says. I'm not going to have an opinion about what it says. I'm just going to let homeowners have an opinion about what it says. But I'm going to be able to explain to you what it says. So, and I'm going to just jump all the way to the back, although I think there's some pretty good stuff, and I think there is clarity. We have needed this for 8 years. So there's clarity. An example of clarity where we've been fighting for 8 years is on the windows of a house. If you add a window or build a new house, what could the windows look like? So if you do an addition now, and what this document says, is that your window pattern can match what's there or can be simpler. So if you have 4 divisions over 1, you may put 4 divisions over 1 now, which you couldn't do before this document. Or you can do 2 over 1, or 3 over 1, or 1 over 1. Those are your options. You can't put the little 8 or 9 division on your addition anymore. You just be able to match what's there, that's a win, or be simpler. So if I have 36 over 1 on my Dayland house and I want to build a garage now, I can build 36 over 1 in my garage, which is a non-conforming structure. So I think that's an improvement, and there's clarity there. You still can't replace your windows, okay? Didn't say you could replace them, it just said your addition now can match what's there. And that may or may not survive at the final deal. The addendums are the most important thing for us to go and review because it talks about the scale. And so I've mentioned this before. I've been fighting it. I'm going to continue to fight it. But in the guidelines, it says the new setback must be 15 feet, okay? And a minimum of which must be 5 feet. So you must have a 5-foot setback, and then you would have 10, or you can have any variation of that so long as you have a minimum of 5. So you can have 6 and 9, 7 and 8, whatever that wants to be. But a minimum of 5 and 15 total means it gives you 35-foot setback. We can take Woodland Heights, where there are 5,000 square foot lots, and you cannot find me many houses that have a 5-foot setback and a 10-foot setback. So I'm going to go make the argument to the staff, to the Historic Commission, and to City Council. You've created a design guideline that is not original to my neighborhood. There were no setbacks that were 5 and 10 in the original Woodland Heights on 5,000 square foot lots. So why would we want a 5 and 10 setback now? It's in the document. It's up for debate. You need to know it's there. There would be no more 3-foot setbacks, even though the deed restrictions say 3 feet. The standard is 3 feet. The building code is 3 feet. It won't matter anymore because this will be the more restrictive of anything else. So new setbacks established for the side. Okay? Just want you to be aware of what's going on. Here's the maximum floor area ratio, which is the air-conditioned square footage of all space. It does not count attics where the plate height is at 7 feet or below. Your attic is high and you're air conditioning your attic. It includes the attic, it includes garage apartment, it includes everything. So if you have a we'll need a calculator, somebody.
I got a
If we have a 5,000 square foot lot, the most air conditioned space that you could have would be, is this what they did here? On 6,600 square feet,
29 something.
2,900 square feet on 6,600 square feet?
Yeah.
And it's like 23 or
Okay. Floor area ratio is the total square footage of conditioned and unconditioned space eligible in the square footage of the lot. So this is the total maximum coverage of everything in that, including porches, including carports, all these sort of things or whatever. So it doesn't count this 7-foot square footage here, and it doesn't count a pergola or something like that. But it does include new buildings and additions and everything there. So the maximum floor area ratio on 6,600 square feet is 44%. 44% of 6,600
2904.
is not
2904.
2,904. Okay?
Why? It used to be air-conditioned space, and now you're talking about ports and air-conditioned.
Yes, I am. Well, this is in the floor area ratio. Yes, let's go to the next table. Going down, it's confusing.
The 2904 footprint.
Well, here's the lot coverage. So here's the lot coverage, which is the total first floor, not counting the second floor, of everything. Porches, garages, everything. So if you have 6,600 square feet and your maximum lot coverage is 40%, what's the most you can have?
Tell me again for 66.
66 times 40%.
2904 on the first
2904.
floor. Is that right?
total.
Total
We're talking about
first
total.
floor. Footprint,
Yes.
footprint.
But including the garage.
Oh,
You can have 40% of 6,600. What is that?
2904.
All right, subtract 450 square feet, which is a garage.
2454.
All right, subtract a 6-foot porch by 20 feet, which is another 120 square feet.
2334.
That's about how big a house you're going to be able to get if there was a vacant lot on a typical lot in Houston Heights, east, west, or south. The maximum lot coverage. So if there's already a garage there and you want to build a house, I mean, this is the total of the garage and the whole first floor, including porches, not overhang, and just what's covering the floor. When we do build the first floor before you build a wall, what's covered.
What was it before these changes?
There was nothing. You can do whatever was reasonable. The setbacks are really 3 in the deed restrictions, and we have plenty of 3,800 square foot houses. Now we're gonna start building 2,300 square foot houses. I'm not a rocket scientist, but if we've been paying $450 or $500 for a lot, you're gonna start paying $200 or $250 for a lot, because that's all you can build is a 2,300 square foot house on a vacant lot. Or if you have a 1,000 square foot bungalow, the same thing's gonna apply to additions and new constructions. You're gonna have a maximum lot coverage. Then you're gonna have a maximum floor area ratio of air conditioned space. Then you're gonna have these setbacks that you must deal with, the 5 and the 10. Okay, let's just keep going a bit longer.
Bill, is there a moratorium right now on permits or
No.
plans? So if I have a lot right now, I can run
These
out.
are not in play until they're
submit my
adopted by
plans
city
for you.
council, you better hurry. You got the rest of the year.
That's what I.
The likelihood is that these will go into play January 1 of 2018.
So is there anybody besides you that's gonna be arguing?
I don't think there's many people that understand it. I think it's kind of like Hitler taking over in World War II. You take Belgium, nobody really cares. You take Switzerland, nobody really cares. You get to Poland and nobody really cares until they, so until it impacts you, you're really not gonna care until you want to do an addition on your house.
And then it's too late.
And then it's usually too late. And the guy that already has his done feels like, here's how it feels. I've been doing this for 10 years. If you're in the big house, say, shit, my house just went up because now no one else can do that, right? My house is gonna go up in value. So those people don't care. The radicals who don't want any new construction or high buildings built beside them, they are all in favor of it. So, I mean, only about 25 or 30% of the people that really care, which isn't enough to win a battle. But everyone's gonna be impacted here real quick. You'd be surprised the number of people 8 years after historic districts go into play, because I didn't know I was in a historic district. Where the hell have you been? But until they go and pull a permit or sell their house, they're just not impacted. Okay, next we're gonna have the eave height, which is the area between the first floor and the second floor before you start the roof, okay? I will tell you, we typically have, 24 feet to the bottom, 24 inches, and then you have a 10-foot plate, then you have a 2-foot truss, and then you have another 10-foot ceiling. Gets you about 26 feet before you start going too well on a typical house that we would build today. And now, your maximum is going to be, go down a little bit further here, Mr. Aaron, 22 feet. So how do you get to 22 feet? You build on a slab versus pier and beam. So now we're going to say, a foot or two there. You build 9-foot ceilings instead of 10-foot ceilings on the first floor. You still have your truss of 24 inches, and then you go put an 8-foot ceiling on the second floor. So that's what they want you to build. They want you to build something not typical. They do not want you to match what might have been here 100 years ago, typical 2-story craftsman. They want your new construction on a slab with lower ceiling height so you can tell that it's not original, okay? That's their intention. They want to preserve what was there. They don't want a bunch of fake houses, a bunch of knockoffs. They don't want you to be able to drive down the street and think they're all from 1910 when half of them are from 2017, okay? So they'll intentionally shrink the height of the house so that it's lower. They want them to build on a slab. They want them to approve them in Woodland Heights on a slab. The addition, they want your addition when you're on the pier B to go down to the slab. It's ugly. It's not in keeping with the neighborhood. It's not what the neighbors want, but it does meet the criteria of the design guidelines. Because 100 years from now, you can rip off that slab addition, just like those porch additions are pretty apparent, right, from 100 years ago. That's how they believe. So, eave height now limited pretty low over here. Keep going. You got a ridge height. That's the height of the roof. The next thing they want you to do, instead of building this roof, they want you to build that roof, okay? So you're not going to be able, we can go on to the next one because that's self-explanatory. They're going to want, see, look, go what it says. Go back because it makes it clear. If we just want to fight with the people, and I'm not going to get all riled up here.
Okay.
I don't think the neighbors get it. I'm going to do my best to explain your homeowners. I want your homeowners to know what's happening. The maximum second floor plate height is 8, which means what?
It's
You're
ugly.
gonna get a lot of 7-foot ceilings and a lot of 6'8" ceilings and a lot of plate height that start at 5 and then work their way up. It's not good for the neighborhood unless you just really want the new things to be ugly and you can see the original houses for what they are. I mean, it's real clear what it says right here for people to get. This is on page, come on now, who's gonna read and get to page
Exactly.
117 to figure that out?
That's 182 pages.
Bill, are we gonna do another, like an open meeting?
I will have an open meeting, but remember, I
Yeah.
want someone else to lead the charge. I want to be the information source, and I want a homeowner in Heights, East, South, or West, or Woodland Heights, or North Heights, to be passionate about it. I'm going to educate whoever wants to be educated without taking a stand. And I want everyone to realize what it says in this document. Keep going, because it gets worse.
I mean, doesn't it, they don't know what
Who's coming
gumbo
up with all this
This
stuff?
is the
Guy needs to
preservation-minded officers of the city who are doing exactly what I'm telling you. They want all additions and all new construction not to look like it was 100 years ago.
I
They
guess
want to be
somewhere
able to
else.
see the difference. They have a
Right.
clear mindset that we must preserve and protect what's there and make sure that any addition or anything surrounding it doesn't look like it was a knockoff. Okay, they don't want a fake Louis Vuitton. They want you to have a plastic canvas bag instead of a fake Louis Vuitton that looks like the other Louis Vuitton. Then you get to these ridge heights or whatever, and it's the maximum ridge height, which is the top of the roof, which you can't get there with any normal ceiling height. So if you have this garage apartment addition, you're gonna go get you what is basically a 9-foot ceiling down, a 6-foot ceiling on the second floor. I mean, how are you gonna get to 25? This is the maximum roof height. It really takes 10 feet to get a car in a garage over here. So if you've got 10 feet here and you've got a 2-foot truss, that's 12, and you go get 7 more feet to 19, this ridge pitch is going to be like that. If you could get an 8-foot addition to a normal garage. But they're basically, what are they telling you? It's not rocket science. We don't want you to build any garage apartments. That's what they're saying. If they're making them functional obsolete because we're making the cars where my Range Rover won't even fit in this thing. Your Miata is going to fit in there just fine. But I mean, you're not going to be able to fit a normal SUV and get any sort of air conditioned space above it and have anything other than a flat roof, which they're okay with that flat roof from Miami Vice over there because it doesn't look in keeping with, it's not a knockoff. So, I mean, it's just gonna be bad, but let's keep going. A couple more, just so you know. These tables are the most important thing to go and look at. This one's not gonna be that big a deal. And you must meet every criteria, okay? It's not 4 out of 6, you can go down, I mean, you must meet every criteria that we have here. They're gonna reduce the sizes of the porch heights. Go to the next one. They're going to reduce the size of the porch width, okay? So it's going to be determined how wide how wide and how deep your porches can be. It's all in here, okay? It's all a function of some percentage, okay? I'm not going to get hung up here. The documents are online. We printed copies. I want to keep people informed. The most important thing you can do is invite your client to next Tuesday's meeting from 6 to 8. If you're a realtor and you're going to sell a house in the Heights in the next decade, come to this meeting. If you have a client who owns a house or whoever wants to sell a house or whoever wants to buy a house in the historic district, Heights East, West, South, North Hill, Woodland, or Freeland, you should come to this meeting and understand what we're doing, which is keeping the houses very small, keeping the house additions very small, keeping the garage and garage apartments very small, okay? And many people love that idea. They really do.
Can you create a little invitation for us?
Sure.
So That's what you need to know about these design guidelines. This is the first of all the historic districts will get these updates, or this is gonna be the prototype of what we use. Unless enough people bitch, and let's be clear. Here's what's gonna happen. There's about 1,800 people, maybe even 2,000 people impacted by these design guidelines. There will not be 125 people at the meeting to begin with, okay? So what percentage is that? Less than 10%. And about 200 people will submit a comment. They're gonna say that's 10%. And they will go and stand before God and the world and say, 90% of the people love what's in this document because they didn't object to it. That's exactly what their argument is going to be. It's what the argument is every time. And so they'll get to city council, and city council will say, well, if nobody objected, it must be just fine. That's what they're saying. That's the plan.
What does the mayor say, or is he keeping his mouth closed?
He has, I'm not gonna go there
Okay,
yet.
sorry.
I'm not gonna go there yet. I mean, I think what the mayor will say is whatever will say, what does the community want? And unless you hear from the community, you're not going to know. So I will probably pay for a mail out to all of the homeowners in these districts that explain a small synopsis of what's going on. I will get my butt slammed and you will get criticized and we will lose listings because of this. And they will say, I'm anti-development, I'm pro-builder, I'm pro-demolition. They will try and pigeonhole me that. We'll see if my better marketing director this decade is better than the one last decade to make sure that they don't pigeonhole me. I'm not saying that. Say, know what you're getting into, okay? Every homeowner should know and they get, but we're not gonna get a vote. I mean, I'd love to say everyone gets a vote this time. You don't get a vote. You get the opportunity to object. And if you don't object, and the problem is, you gotta go to the meeting on Tuesday. You gotta go to another public hearing. You gotta go at 3 o'clock on the third Thursday to the Historic Commission meeting. You gotta go to the Historic Commission public meeting. Then you gotta go to City Council on a Tuesday and object. You're in the middle of the day, and then you gotta go to City Council on a Wednesday morning and object. And who's gonna take off work? How many school teachers are gonna take off from work on Tuesday afternoon and Wednesday morning and go protest? They won't show up. And then people will show up and they will say, we've been fighting for this for 10 years. We must preserve and protect our bungalows and our historic neighborhoods. That's what they're gonna say.
Well, that's a little bit too late. That's sort of a redundant.
No.
The only difference we're gonna really make is at city council and what changes and modifications we have. I'm only gonna have enough political clout if I have hundreds of homeowners who are standing behind us and will sign some petition and who will show up with me in force. Then I'll be able to say, those that understand it do not approve of this. And there'll be ample discussion on, go back to the deal. Now remember, these are just the tables. Go to the floor area ratio. Go to something where you have an outline on a survey. All right, this is perfectly fine. Anything, sure. What 90%, what 50% of the people want to do is if you have this bungalow here, they want to be able to build on top of it. Say you have 1,200 square feet, they want to double the size of their house and make it 2,500 square feet and preserve their backyard. The overwhelming majority of people in Woodland Heights want to do that. The overwhelming majority of people. But the other part of this document says you can't start except 100% of the back. So what the people want is to be able to do this addition here, keep their bungalow modest in size and scale, and preserve their backyard. But this document doesn't allow that, nor does the ordinance itself the way it's written. So it's going to be the more restrictive of the ordinance and then the design guidelines. Enough people are going to have to stand up here and say, I want this design guideline to say we can build at the front of the house, preserve the first floor, keep it in keeping with the neighborhood, preserve my neighborhood, and still have a backyard. We're probably going to lose that argument because the preservationist will say, now you can't tell the old house from the addition, which you can't in Palada's old house or anyone else out there that did an addition 10 years ago. But it's a big fight.
How many people do you think we have to get to come to the meeting on Tuesday to speak up to make something?
I don't think we're going to win
Really
Tuesday's
short.
meeting. I don't think that one's as important. I think let's hear what they have to say. What is their spin on this sort of stuff? I think it's way more important to get people at the city council meetings
Yeah.
in 3 months. And I do have enough control to make sure none of those things at city council will take place during the summer when people are on vacation. So we will not debate it at city council until October. So I think that's the most important thing. We're not gonna win at the historic commission. This is exactly what they want. This is exactly what they want. So they will go and say, we're doing it for your benefit. Our objective is to preserve these bungalows and we're doing our
But you're
job.
gonna talk to them about the 10-foot.
Yeah, I will. I will continue. I will pull the data up and show them, you've imposed a new restriction that is not in keeping with our historic neighborhood. Yes.
I remember the first time when, two 19-year-olds were hopscotching down the street, knocked on my door and said, wouldn't it be a wonderful thing to be in a historic district somewhere here? Why can't we just like split up all the realtors and just cover the streets?
Because you look like the profiteer of new development and demolition, and they pigeonhole you to say, Jim, you make more money if you tear down a $500,000 bungalow and put up a $1.3 million deal, and they tell you, you look like you're the,
Prosecutor.
yeah, you're the
Well,
profiteer.
yeah, but I didn't buy my
homeowner,
house to be in
homeowner.
a historic district. The historic district happened after I moved there.
Jim, we did this in 2000.
Yeah, I don't want to get bogged down
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
I just want you to know what's in this deal, and here's your opportunity to go and hear what someone else has to say. Yes, Cynthia?
Do you think there's any chance
I think
this
so.
time around, more people might show up to protest since now there's more people that understand exactly what it is, either because they tried themselves to do something and weren't successful, or know someone who tried to do something?
I still think it's tough if they've already gone through the process and they went through HHC and they have their addition or they have their new house. They feel like they don't have a dog in the hunt
Yeah.
anymore.
They don't
And
wanna help avoid someone else avoid.
you'd be surprised how little
Right,
sympathy
complacent.
people have for their next door neighbor. I think it's tough. I mean, I'm just being realistic. It's tough to rally the troops. When they were going through the process, they hated it, but once it's done, it's hard to get them back involved. We hope so. I mean, I hope, here's what we need. I need someone to lead a petition drive to get out of the historic district. I need someone to lead a drive, to say something different. But you're gonna have to get to a significant percentage of people. But I need people, I need a homeowner, not a realtor, to start a drive in Heights East and one in Heights West and one in Heights South to get, this isn't what I signed up for. It's not, they misled me, they've modified it, it's gotten too restrictive. I don't want to play in that game anymore. I want to quit. I want it to be Brexit or I want out. I don't want to do this
Right.
anymore. I need somebody else to lead that battle.
Do you know if Emily, you're ready? or-
She just sold her house and bought one that's totally redone, so she didn't have to go through the hell she did.
Successful in being able to do this.
She was not successful in the lease. She got denied all the way through the appeals process.
She might be someone that-
She'd be a lovely one in Woodland Heights to lead the charge. She certainly believes in what I said over here about adding above the existing structure and preserving the backyard. She's passionate about it. Will she, as a teacher, take time off to go down and meet with city council members and do all that sort of stuff? Remember, their lobby is stronger than our lobby, so you gotta have time. Someone has to be passionate about it.
Does this also apply to North Hill Heights?
It does,
Mhm.
absolutely.
Is it all of the historic districts? or
Well,
just-
all the historic districts are gonna get a design guideline like this, and all of them, so there will be some more tailored items to each specific district. Now, this one is for Heights East, West, and South. There'll be separate ones for North Hill, for Woodland Heights, for Freeland, but this is the prototype that they're going to use, so it's gonna have the same charts are there, it's just, the numbers change, but go to any of them. I mean, they've laid the groundwork.
So what if we each found one rebel rouser that we?
I would love to talk to them. I will meet with anyone that wants to meet. Keep
But
going.
they can't be a realtor.
They can't get a realtor.
Just an individual.
Keep going. Go to one of the, any of these charts. See, they're laying the groundwork for North Hill. Here it is. They're gonna do the same thing. Is this floor area ratio, how does it adjust compared, and let's take North Hill. This is Houston Heights. The houses was bigger to begin with, so they're looking at the Sanborn map from 1920 and saying, okay, this is about what we had. This was the size of the house we had 100 years ago. When you go to North Hill, the size of the houses were smaller. So it's going to get more restricted in North Hill, not less restricted. It's going to get more restrictive in Freeland. It's going to get more restrictive in the old 6th Ward because those were typically smaller houses. Where it gets less restrictive is maybe Boulevard Oaks or Winlow Place or something where they had bigger 3,000 square foot houses. You're gonna have more flexibility where they're big houses. This was my argument 8 years ago. It doesn't penalize an East Parker when she's in Westmoreland on a 15,000 square foot lot with a 5,000 square foot house. You can penalize that person. You penalize the 900 to 1,200 square foot bungalow. That's the people that get penalized. The big houses don't get penalized. So they've laid the groundwork for the lot sizes here. But yes, there will be a more specific one tailored just to North Hill and one for Freeland and one. Okay, next Tuesday meeting,
What time?
6 p.m., fire station. It will be contentious. Okay, moving on. Okay, want to make sure that we're all well aware of another little city policy, which regards the public right-of-way. We're going to public right-of-way? So, I mean, anything that's not on private property belongs to the city of Houston and the great citizens of the city of Houston. And the goal of the city of Houston is to protect it for all Houstonians. So, I mean, of course, we have an ordinance that doesn't allow you to place signage of any type into the public right-of-way. So if we're in a neighborhood and the property line stops 1 foot before the sidewalk, then you have a sidewalk, and then you have the curb and gutter, and realtors that put their sign out into the public right-of-way are subject to the little city official to come and give you a ticket and a fine. So you can't put anything in the public right-of-way. Now, people do it. And certainly we put up temporary signs. The city isn't in this big promotion of the city itself going and removing these sort of things. But when we start to go down this little bit, when we start talking about who can remove these signs, anyone who works for the city of Houston can remove the sign, which is the police department, the planning and development department, that's the historic people, the Department of Solid Waste Management, that's the trash people, Public Works and Engineering, the Department of Neighborhoods, and any other employee of the city of Houston can come and issue a green tag or a red tag or a ticket if you're in the public right-of-way. So that public right-of-way, of course, is defined as anything beyond the private property. So it's any poster or anything. Go up just a little. That wasn't really where I was going to start, but it's fine. So they can dispose of your sign, they can pick it up and dispose of it, or they can go and put it into a compound where you have 30 days to go and get it. You just got to pay for it like your towed car. If they towed your car, isn't that cheap to go get your sign out of the impound over there? And the basic fee for this sort of deal is no less than $300 and no more than $500 per day. Per day.
Jesus.
Per day. So now they haven't been in the habit of issuing a lot of tickets, but if they give you a little green tag, and like I say, any neighbor can call 311 and turn you in, right? So any realtor can turn in another realtor, any homeowner can turn in another homeowner, any homeowners association can turn in someone or whatever. So I mean, certainly people who put signs on Heights Boulevard, we have members of the association, members of the neighborhood can go and pick up the signs and throw them away, which they can do. It's in the public right of way. There's nothing that stops that or whatever. Or they could call and have you ticketed or whatever. So I want us to understand the rule, first of all, and 99.99% of the time, I want you to make sure that your sign is on the property of which it is that we're placing the sign.
Okay, so no corners, no corners.
If you're doing a directional sign on Sunday and you're putting it up from 2 to 5 or a small window of time, I mean, I think we're going to do some of that. I'm not unrealistic to think that the city does it for the Freedom Over Texas Festival and whatever. I mean, all of us are going to do temporary signs. I'm not going to.
Do we ring the
It's subject to
doorbell?
being removed. I
Do
mean,
we ring the doorbell of the person we're gonna put it in?
that would be ideal if you could put it on, someone's individual property, although that's bold as hell to ask them, and when they say no, you're in trouble. So most people just are gonna put it in the public right-of-way. But you gotta remove the signs, folks. I mean, you gotta put them up in a reasonable time period right before your event, and you gotta take them down. Don't leave the temporary signs up. I'm really not so much gonna focus on the temporary signs as I am the yard signs, when you're putting them out between the curb and the sidewalk. We're going to get in trouble there. And of course, when there's a fence on the property line, if you are at a disadvantage because you're having to put your sign this
Facing
way
that
versus this
yeah.
way because you have no other place to put it. And we could look at the little balloons or something, not the temporary balloons, but more permanent fixtures for
Right.
some noticeability. But I think if we're just putting the sign down in the ground on the fence like this, what you're going to do is attach the signs up at the top of the fence so that you can see it. Just put the little ties up at the top and not put it in the ground, but put it higher up in the fence so that it's more visible or whatever. But we're going to have to be careful about putting our signs into the public right of way, and we're going to make sure that.
But that's not law yet. It's going to be.
This is
Oh, yeah.
This has always been the law.
Ordinances, yeah.
They just don't always crack down on it.
Where'd that
The
green tag
nicer-
come from?
This was Kenny's sign on 16th Street.
I got one on 27th Street.
There you go. You need a lawyer to defend you?
No, I think.
I just moved the sign.
Just move the sign. I mean,
It's right
just
across
try
the
and be
street out
careful.
there.
The nicer the neighborhoods are, the more people care about it, right? I mean, and it does, I don't want a bunch of signs everywhere either, whatever. If they're having a lobster boil that day, then I don't really care about a little sign, or if the Catholic Church is having a food festival, they're gonna put up a little temporary sign. But you better not put it up on a boulevard, put it down over on the side street to direct home. It's really the yard signs. I want you to be aware of what the ordinance says. Yes, sir?
Any idea what made the sign on it?
No, no particular reason. Maybe probably just worn down for a while. I think we've tried, we've had fewer signs on the Esplanade and still on to the sides, which are better. I think that's better than putting them on like Boulevard in the Esplanade. They still take them down on the Esplanade, but it just hasn't been so bad about cutting our signs, the directional signs on Sundays. Okay, everyone's aware of the ordinance. Okay, where do you want to go next?
I don't know. You want to do May stats?
Okay, Ken Luggage, you were among the first people in the city of Houston to understand the statistics were made. They're just going to release this,
nice.
probably be the headlines tomorrow. Not going to delve into it. It's more of the same, but a little bit better each month, okay? So that's sort of, you need to be sure that you're telling your clients, especially the buyer side. The sellers, it gets frustrating if you don't know how great it is and they wonder why the hell you haven't sold their house. So I mean, it's the buyer side that have to understand what's going on. But a couple of things will be the headline, I think, this time. Sales are up. Instead of fractional, the number of sales in May of 2017 was up 12% in single family. The dollar volume is up 16%. These are big numbers. These are billions and billions of dollars. It's hard to get to a 16% increase, but it's pretty substantial. Largest increase of the year. Average price up. I'm going to come back here in just a moment. And then the median price up. So same indicators all the way around, better for a seller, worse for a buyer, but probably in all reality, balance. Certainly not a seller's market over there, certainly not a buyer's market. I think it's a balanced market. The total amount of inventory is, they're still going to say, is going up. I don't want to make things all local again inside the loop when we talk about that. So overall, good. Every indicator we want's good. And townhouses were up a little, but I'll comment about that in a moment. Overall, every category is up, okay? Let's don't dwell on that because this is kind of more of the same. Percentage is a little higher. Same thing, if you could break it down, the price per square foot is up, the days on the market is down, that's a good thing. The pending sales are up 18%, pretty damn good thing. New listings were up and inventory was up overall, which more of this is outside the 610 loop than inside the 610 loop, so I want to make sure that we understand that it's local. So the only good news you can say about this is you can sell more houses when times are better, when there's more houses to sell. You can't sell. If I have 10 buyers who want a swimming pool in the Heights and there's not 10 houses with swimming pools, you can't sell the damn things, right? You're waiting for one to pop on the market. So inventory is balancing, I think. All fine. Let me just see why I marked this one thing up.
Bill, what do you say to people who say, because their house is not selling and it's been on the market for a while?
We need to do something.
Well, I know, but let's say the price is just too high, but they're saying, well, then we'll wait till next year and see how it is next year. We'll just lease it out this year and see
I think
if,
that's probably a good idea.
you think that's a
I
good
think
idea.
it's a good idea.
Because if it's.
I think it has a better chance selling in this month than it did this 6 months ago. And I still think I would rather take, but
But
yeah.
if it's a townhouse, if it's a townhouse that's competing with a bunch of other new townhouses.
Yeah, I would say that's probably bad. I'd do something else and I would get rid of this. I don't think it's gonna get significantly better in the townhouse market.
Because they're still competing against the same people next year, right?
Yeah, or new
Right, and you're
construction
a
by
year
next year.
over.
And next year, in townhouses, you're gonna compete with more townhouses next
Yeah.
year. Okay, this was the days on the market where I continued to mark this or whatever. So for new construction, we are certainly selling new construction quicker than we did before. The new construction tended to be the higher price per square foot, remember, as opposed to the 275 square foot older house and the $389 new construction. We are still making headways in addressing the balancing of the new construction. That's my point there. Keep going. Aaron can send you all these little highlighted deals so that you have them. Overall, same thing. If year to date, same thing we're talking about. While we were up 16% last month, it was not that great. It was just up marginally January, February, March, and April. But for the year, all indicators up. Number of sales, dollar volume, average price, median price. Okay? I do think it's neat to point out when you talk about these sales, and we're talking about single family housing here, new construction made up 5,000, 25,000 of existing houses. So new construction still made up less than 20% of the total sales, even though sometimes we focus on that a little bit more. Okay, keeping going to my next highlight. This was all the same, all good. This was interesting. This is what I think the real headline is going to be. For the first time in the history, go back a little, the average price was over $300,000. First time ever. Highest it's ever been, even when oil was $100
That's
a
crazy.
barrel.
I didn't know
The
that.
average price and the median price are at all-time highs over here, okay? In May of 2017 or whatever. Median price still going up. The number of listings, number of pending, here's the number of pending listings, 8,800 compared to the 5,000 and 6,000 numbers that we used to have. So we're talking about a fairly significant increase in the number of pending listings. This is 1,100, or what is basically 15–16% more than the month before. Days on market continue to decline. The break between list price and sales price continues to shrink. All indicators, I'd say, are pretty damn good if you're in the single family housing market today compared to a year ago. Okay, keeping going. Don't want to get hung up here. Same thing. In the higher end market, we're up 39% over last year. Almost a 40% increase.
Say that sentence again.
Over $1 million, the market's up 40% over a year ago. Okay? It's going to instill a little more confidence in people over here. Number of closed sales is higher. Days on the market are in check or whatever. Look at doesn't matter. It's all good. It's a positive indication. Okay? If we break down again, doesn't matter. It's all good. You go back up one more time. Every headline at every price range, I focus on the 40%, but the $300,000 market's up 28%, the $750 to $1 million up 40%. Every market's up double digit over here. It's not just one section. The only area that's down is where we don't have any inventory. We don't have any $89,000 houses today, so it doesn't really matter what happens over here in the $70,000 to $99,000 field. It's insignificant. Okay, moving on to the specifics. Just keep going. All lovely. Okay, if you take all of the areas, so area 9 here again, you just glance at what's local, the number of sales up fairly good, about 10–15%. Average price up, median price in check, price per square foot good, list price good. New listings up a hair, but still the active listings are down compared to a year ago. Pendings are up, the days on the market are down, and the inventory check and balance continues to get tighter. This is about a balanced market in my world over here, okay? Still means the worst listings are gonna stay on for a while and the best listings are gonna sell pretty quickly. And you will continue to see that for sure in the closings of June. You'll see the same thing. I put up 811 Columbia, 1495, it sells for 1495 in one day. That's gonna check the days on the market, right? Doesn't get much better than that. Area 16 and 17, pretty much in keeping, sold about the same. Montrose is a little tighter, but it's about the same price, little higher at median price. The price per square foot inching its way up. Percentage tightening. Number of new listings is about what it was last year. The total number of listings is down a little bit. The number of pendings is in check. So they're at about 6.4, which is still better than it was a year ago. And Area 17 is also about the same. Sold a fair amount more houses in Area 17 for slightly more money. Median price was up, average price was up of what's selling. All this is really telling you is that in Area 17, the nicest houses are selling and the worst houses are not, okay? So the price per square foot jump is because what you're selling is nice shit and bad shit lingers on the market for a long time. I mean, that's really what it's saying. It's not saying bad stuff's selling at a higher price than it used to. It's just saying what's selling is more expensive. So it's, I do think the $79 purse is having a harder sell today than the $799 sale or whatever. There's just so many of the $79 deals. Do you want to get it at Kroger or Mega Marshalls or Amazon.com or Etsy or whatever, or do you want to go shopping at the River Oaks District and buy something wowie? And right now, the consumer wants to go to the River Oaks District, have a glass of rosé at, La Table, and go over there and buy them a $799 purse. So that it's skewing the numbers a little bit. But overall, Area 17 is doing fairly well. But if you look at the three, the tighter is in Area 9, which is, goes all the way up to Oak Forest, goes Lindell, and it's a broad area or whatever. But every indication inside the 610 loop is significantly better in the month of May than it was the May before, and the year to date is significantly better than it was for last year. You're going to continue to see the trend in June also. And I think you're going to have to show these buyers this. Now, as we discussed, it gets a little softer in July's numbers and August numbers. It's been a little hotter. There'll be a little fatigue. I'm not saying it's always going to be up to 39% or something, but it's follow the track about like what I thought was going to happen for the year. This was everything. This was new and used. So if you break it out, it's still about the same. In existing houses, we shrunk the inventory a little bit. We shrunk a little in Area 16. We grew a little of the existing houses in Area 17. We don't focus on it too much. And then go to new construction, like we've been discussing. It's tighter and tighter. So same thing. Sold more houses. Getting 98.5% in new construction today. The consumer wants the new construction. They'd rather pay full price for the modern bungalow house than they would the 10-year-old house. They're going to pay significantly less for whatever. Every indication good? Certainly the number of listings is down. We will see some increase in these numbers at some point. It's not like the bankers don't study this number and the builders and the investors don't study this number. If you're an investor and you wanted to go put your money somewhere today, about the safest place I think you can go do is build a single family house, especially if you're going to get a historic district and you're not going to be able to build bigger houses in 70 or 85% of what is the market of the Greater Heights area. Seems like a pretty good time to go buy a house. And if I was just speculative, which I'm not allowed to do because of my license, I would tell you the areas outside of the historic district are looking like a bargain to me. They're looking like a bargain in the long term. Go buy you a $1.2 million house on 21st or 22nd Street because those houses are going to be 1.4, 1.5, 1.6, and 1.7. in the near future, all things being normal. Don't have as many new houses in Montrose, so we couldn't sell as much, although we're shrinking in this inventory, but really only sold 10 new houses in all of Area 16 last month. Remember, this is a pretty low number compared to what is 38. And the same thing, Area 17. We don't have a lot of new construction, single-family houses in Area 16 or 17. So we only sold 15 because you statistically get too much saying. Yeah, but what you're seeing, I mean, this is $250,000 higher than a year ago of what's selling. Okay. Was there anything else that I had, Aaron? Townhouses. I would tell you that statistically, it's okay. I mean, Area 9 was about the same. It wasn't better nor worse, really, statistically. What we're selling is they're unloading this inventory they couldn't sell. So if I saw something here, we sold more houses, but the damn price certainly went down of what we're selling. The only thing selling is the low end of the townhouse market. Median price in Area 9 was $263,000. There are not a lot of $700,000 and $800,000 townhouses selling in Area 9 this year. Same thing. The high-end market still sucks of the townhouse. Area 16 was $392,000, and the only thing in Area 17, I mean, pay attention, $149,000 was the median price. We're talking about cheap little townhouses and condos. The only thing that's selling, over in that market. While we're selling more of them, it's not like the high end. And I would say the high end, 750, 800, 900 in Area 16 or 17, 500 to 600 in Area 9. Those markets are not recovered, as we've been discussing. Still think there's a looming amount of inventory out there. Not a great time to go list your $700,000 townhouse on the resale market. It's not easy to sell by any means. Okay, moving on. Was there anything else I marked?
This
Same
is year to date.
What we're
Yeah.
selling, old townhouses are certainly selling for cheaper. There's not much going on. New construction's a little bit better, but it's insignificant. I mean, in Area 17, we sold one new townhouse. All of Area 17, all of Westview, all of that area by Herman Park, we sold one. Which we only sold two the year before. So that's all that was there. Area 9 was selling less, but there's less, and there'll be less and less to choose from. So the inventory is going down of what they've listed, but most of these things, I think if they were smart, they just lease those damn things for a year and wait for the market to recover. Okay, MLS statistics, headline's gonna be pretty positive over there. You gotta make sure you understand the inventory is not really talking about inside the loop. It's talking about Pearland, it's talking about Cinco Ranch, it's talking about Kingwood. Not a great market out there yet either. Questions about the statistics?
What about Area 22?
Area 22, let's go back up, and I cut off my deal, although I'll just get with you on Area 22. And I have some multi-million-dollar stuff in Area 22. I cut it off, I didn't add it to this presentation. This report now is 300 pages, so I just narrowed it down to the pages that make sense. Okie dokie. Let's go over just a couple of survey issues as it relates to the Planning Commission. You really know the Planning Commission is really about the roadways, because it's about the public right-of-way, which is the edge of the property to the edge of the other property, and that creates a road. So let's click to the major thoroughfare stuff for a moment. So we have the Planning Department determines the width of roads and the future width of roads, ideally 50 years in advance. So you're planning far in advance. It's a big city. So if Westheimer is 70 feet now, does it want to be 80 feet wide 10 years from now? Because when we issue permits, we're determining if we're taking some of that right of way. So streets are classified. Can you get to that one page?
Sure.
All streets are classified by federal and state and local determination or whatever. And there's freeways, there's major thoroughfares, there's collectors, there's major collectors. All right, so there's freeways, thoroughfares, major collectors, minor collectors, and local streets. This determines how wide the street is. This relates to your surveys. I'm going to try and make this talk about surveys at some point. So when we have a local street, Highland has a certain right of way. The right of way can be 40 feet, but the street may only be 30 feet. And that will determine if we widen Highland in the future, which is usually planned 5 years out in advance. So the planning department, planning commission, is going to determine if these streets, if the right-of-way should be increased. So if we have a tract of land, and envision the tract of land that's vacant now between Sawyer and Studemont, that's cleared out or whatever, they got this big tract of land, they're gonna go replat over there. We could determine, because of the density of population, we need a road down the middle of that tract of land. So when they go and plat, if we decide, okay, there's congestion over there behind Target, let's plan for a road in the next 50 years to go from the feeder road to Washington. And we'll just plot it on a map over here. Take me to one of these old maps. We'll say, okay, it makes sense that we do this in the future, maybe 50 years. So when they go and replat, we'll make them dedicate 40 feet or 50 feet or 60 feet in the middle of their property for a future road. So they could go put a parking lot maybe there at this moment, but we won't let them build a structure in that section because we know there's going to be a road that goes down the middle, and soon that little section is going to be a Starbucks on either side of a future road. So we can go to where that is. Here's the interstate, here's Studewood, here's this little section here, and this is probably Montrose here, this is probably Sawyer here, right? Watson, Taylor. So we could go and someone could plot a little line right here that says, all right, we're going to need another connection from here to here. And we draw a little line there, and we put it on a little chart, and on Wednesday at the United Way, we're going to go talk about it. Now, when they draw the little line, they have to mail all these property owners 800 feet in every direction that says there's a proposal to increase the right-of-way. This happens all throughout the city. We can take a section, and this is a great section, and we drew lines here and said, okay, in the future, 50 years from now, this is all going to be subdivisions just like this. This subdivision wants to go here. So this is the Katy Prairie. So there were roads that were platted through here, and after the Memorial Day floods, we go, you know what? We don't really want a subdivision there. We went and removed the roads and said, all right, the future congestion is going to go. So we do remove right of way all the time. Okay? Say, no, that doesn't make sense anymore. It made sense at one point, but we probably need to keep this watershed to keep us from flooding over here. We need to not allow any roads in this particular section. So we can remove right of way and we can add right of way into any particular area. You want to show one more example of this?
That's eminent domain.
We do it every day. We do it every day. We take it every day. So when they're redoing Westheimer, the lower Westheimer corridor, we'll just take 10 feet of all that property and we'll widen the street. It's the public right of way.
Does the city buy them out?
Sure they do.
Okay.
Sure they do.
Reasonably?
Fair market value.
Okay.
Okay? Okay. Don't want to get too hung up here, but I mean, you want to show one more little map of. But the major thoroughfare plans are being presented on Wednesday night at United Way, and then we'll start these hearings all through June and July over here at the Planning Commission. It's very fascinating how roadways work and the right-of-way works. We're making people dedicate right-of-way every time they go and plat. So in Roy Street, I mean, all the time, let's say a builder comes to Roy Street and there's a 25-foot building line. We're going to make him dedicate the front 10 feet for the future road expansion. So now we made him give us that 10 feet, but we're going to let him build at the 10-foot build line versus the 25. So we're going to let him build 15 feet into the right-of-way, in closer than we would have left him, as long as he gives us the 10-foot right. St. Arnold's Brewery just is expanding over there. We just took 10 feet of their property for an expansion of that road. So we don't let them build their structure into the right-of-way, but we'll let them put the parking lot up there. I don't want to get too caught up there, but it's very fascinating how the Planning Commission was into roads, and I didn't realize how much we're into the roadways, but we're definitely into roadways.
Oh, I can't get over
Let's go
17.
to Roy Street. Here's an issue with the survey that's come up, which is a very valid question. This is Martha has a listing. We're reselling the listing. She sold this to them. They used the T47 in 2005. They just sent it on to the title company. People buy it. They just signed it. They didn't even know what the hell they were signing. And it happens all the time. One of the more reasons I want to make sure that a buyer buys their own new survey. So now we're selling this. Our clients are selling it. And this is the survey of the deal. And here is Maxey Street with the 50-foot right of way, and here's a curve, here's the property line, here's the house is all on there, and here's Roy Street, and it's a 60-foot right of way. Here's the property, and here is a little fence, wraps around this little jewel, and makes it look like these people own all of that, but they don't own all of that. You own all of that, the great citizens of the city of Houston. Now, the way the rule works is the abutting property owner must maintain from their property till the curb cut throughout the city. That's the rule. Adjacent into the heights, also your property into the alley, the homeowner is required to maintain the abutting property, and they can issue you a ticket. And we issued some tickets last week of people who had not maintained the alley behind their house. And people are not accustomed to that because they're saying, "Shit, I don't own it. The city owns it." You don't own where that sidewalk is over there. That property owner does not own that. It's in the city right of way. But they are responsible for mowing that yard right there between the property line and the curb. And the city could issue them a ticket if they did not maintain that grass right there. Same with us here, between here and the curb. These people own what they own, and they don't own outside of it, but they have this fence here. Now, I'm a realist, and how does the city of Houston think about it? This is an area of townhouse development over here, whatever, and there is a large distance between what is the back of the curb and the property here. So if there was going to be, and I don't think there's any plan to expand Maxey Street, these are all these are all ditches through here, and they could redo Maxey Street, and they could put in a curb and gutter. We might pull up the Google map if we want to, whatever. But even if they put in curbs and gutters, I don't think there's a major push to widen Maxey Street. It would have to be on the major thoroughfare plan first. It's not on the major thoroughfare plan, so it's got to get there. Once it got there, if they expanded, it would be a minimum of 5 years, just minimum in our current economic situation, and it probably would be 10 or 15 years down the road. So you would be able to tell from the capital improvement plan if there was any plan to expand or redo this street or expand this street. In these, what are local streets, Roy Street's never going to be wider than 60 feet, okay? And Maxey Street's never going to be wider than 60 feet, okay? And even if we expanded Maxey through the right of way and took 10 more feet over here, which we really already have plenty of right of way in order to expand it, and there's really not going to be any impact over here. And if there was a sidewalk, it's still going to be close as possible to the street. Even if it were a 6 feet sidewalk, it would be in the section. So if we took 10 more feet, and if there were a sidewalk here, it would be right here. There's little to no danger that the city of Houston has any interest in making them remove the fence. Or as long as they maintain the yard, if they were going to maintain it inside the fence, they have to maintain it outside the fence regardless. There's no real risk that no one's going to make them move this fence, no one's going to tear out this patio. I see little to no risk because there's ample room between the curb and the back and the property line. That's what we really measure.
Did they put in that fence? Or did they?
No, I'm
No,
assuming
the
it's
house,
there.
I think it's been there since 2001.
When they built the house.
That's a new construction.
When the buyers bought it in 2005, it was not what the
there.
survey looked like.
No one really just
But
noticed.
that's not on their property line, and why did this? Okay.
No one noticed. They just saw
Okay.
they just assumed that the property was somewhere around there and that inside their fence. Happens all the time. The average house in the Heights, the front fence is beyond the property line.
Okay.
What do you want to keep the 1 or 2 or 3 feet that you've got to maintain in front of the fence? Oh, let's push the fence over there. And unless the road expanded and the sidewalk expanded, they're not going to. Remember, we're not too much into the sidewalk building business. The city passes the buck on to developers and they pay for the sidewalks. So if there were going to be a sidewalk here, it would have been when these developments came through. And yes, it's a little funny. You'll have a long street and the new developer, we come in and make them put in the 6 foot or 8 foot sidewalk, and then it's a sidewalk to nothing. Well, our assumption is at some point, this 2001 crap, we're going to tear it down and build something new, right? And we'll make them put a sidewalk until there's enough money to fix the sidewalk. So definitely you only own to this section. Certainly there is some risk, wouldn't want to say that there was no risk, but there's not any great probability that there's any impact to that one way or the other. Okay? Questions about that one? Let's jump to Jim Ford sold the house earlier this year. And it's a similar situation, although not the same. Very common in these particular blocks where we have oversized alleys. So he's selling this house and garage apartment stuff up on 28th Street, I think. It was just
27th Street.
27th Street. I just saw Jim Ford, I don't know.
Sorry, I got a lot of stuff going on here. Jim, here he is.
Okay, so here's Jim selling this house over here. We're on 27th Street, 50 feet wide. We're 131 deep. And we plop over here, and lo and behold, this whole 2-story garage and 2 apartments, right,
Yes.
are a good 13 and a half feet off the property line. So we have to be very clear, you only own to this line right here. So you don't own the back half of this garage and garage apartment. You're selling a house or buying a house, and you don't own that.
Is that a builder's mistake or what?
It was very common in this generation of construction because this particular alley is 38 feet. And I would tell you if it's a 15-foot alley, you're up shit creek because very soon I think someone's going to go through this alley. And I think people are going to go through this alley. Think about the city of Houston. We sell and buy right-of-way every week. We're in the right-of-way business. We just, $2 million, it's in the newspaper today, some stuff we just traded with the county commissioners or whatever. So, the city of Houston does not need 38-foot alley today. We don't need it. We don't need that. So, if I was just had a lot of spare time, I would go and say, okay, let's reduce this alley to a, right now, let's just be honest, no one's paying taxes on what's in that 38 feet, right? City of Houston owns the 38 feet, okay? This person only owns to right there. When they protest their taxes January 1 of 2018,
Right.
I take my survey over there and say, look, this is a shit tear down thing. I don't even own but half of it. I should only be taxed on what the land is and what the house is. That's another whole story. But here I would say that the city of Houston is not going to come through here and make this person tear that down. They're not going to. There's no real incentive. There's no reason to do that. I would think what you would do is take your 38-foot alley and say, all right, we need about a 15-foot alley. At the most, we need 20-foot alley, which means that leaves 14 feet, which we would turn around and first offer all the adjoining property owners the ability to buy that property. And if they had a petition right this moment from block to block, they could go to the City of Houston General Services Office and make a proposal for everyone to buy this. And we've had this happen many times. But if it were 14 feet, what they would do is offer this guy, they're going to leave the alley down the middle. So if it's 15 feet alley, that leaves what, 15 and 8, 23. That's really what this guy wants is a 15-foot alley so he can buy his 13 feet and only have maybe a 2 or 3 inch encroachment over there. But the likelihood is that we'll create some alley in the near future, could be 10 years, sell the adjoining property owners the additional frontage, put this back on the tax record, city gained them, city sold this, they made money. City put that back on the taxable value, city made money, win-win for everyone. There's very little, there's no inherent risk in the 38-foot alley. Now, be clear, on the 15-foot alley, and you have some encroachment 6 foot in there, we're gonna wanna open up these alleys, we're gonna tear that shit down, and someone's gonna be shit out of luck. But this isn't a 15-foot alley, it's a 38-foot alley. But you don't own this today. Hopefully you can buy it in the future, if you want it. Questions about this survey? Right of way. So on these surveys and on these alleys, we care about, these distances. What is the right of way in this street? 27th Street is a local street. It doesn't even need 70-foot right of way. We should reduce the size of the street, slow the traffic down, and sell this guy the front 10 feet, the guy over here the next 10 feet, and make it a 50-foot right of way. Some of this expansion, there's no reason for the city to have a 70-foot right of way. We're not going to put a major thoroughfare down 27th Street. So let's reduce the size of the right of way and slow the traffic down. We are intentionally continuing to slow the traffic down. It is a mindset. So the mindset was bigger streets. Bigger streets mean faster cars. Now the more dense you come into the city, the slower you want the traffic. So instead of building 12-foot wide lanes, you want to build 10-foot wide lanes because people drive slower and more careful in 10-foot lanes. So you will see Westheimer be redone. You will see Alabama. You'll see this Brazos and Bagby where we have this one-way shit and cars go like 90 miles an hour to get onto the spur. That is not healthy for the city. You want to stop the one-way streets. You want to create two-way streets. You want to slow down the traffic, put a Starbucks and a wine bar and a cafe and people out on the sidewalks where it's pedestrian friendly and people want to walk. It slows down the traffic intentionally. It's greater for the pedestrian realm. It makes for higher. I mean, it's a better use of our roadways. So there's a whole mind shift, that paradigm shift that they were talking about. It's talking about it here too. Get off the 70-foot right of way, go to a slower right of way, slow down the traffic, and make this a neighborhood street. It's better for everyone. Questions about that? Okay. I am hosting an event at my house next Tuesday. It's a book signing. This is for Wade Phillips. He may not be a football person. He was a football coach with the Oilers. He was once the head football coach of the Oilers temporarily. But he's written a book, Son of Bum. He's Bum Phillips' son. We're having a book signing at my house next Tuesday. We're going to invite you to that. The books are $25.
That's your historic preservation thing.
I know. It's after that.
Oh, okay.
I'll
What
start
time
at
is your
this
event? What time is your
7
event?
to 9.
You think that thing's gonna be over in an
No,
hour?
I think they'll get started without me. I'll be the design guy. It just is when he's a busy person. That's when he can come.
Okay.
It's a fundraiser. Also, if you are a new person to our organization in 2017, we have a little list here: Martha, Margot, Catherine, all Terrence. I'm inviting you to my house next Wednesday at 6 p.m. And it's just kind of a get to know you. There's no real agenda other than coming to my house and chit-chatting and talking. Everyone else is welcome. So if you've ever been to one of these drunk fests, opportunities to get to know one another.
Is it?
You are invited also.
You want me to go?
Everyone is invited, but it's specifically for the new individuals to get to know me, my philosophy, my background, me to get to know you, your philosophy, and your background. It's family bonding time over here. A week from Wednesday in my wine cellar.
Ooh,
6 p.m.
fun.
So anyone that wants to go can certainly go there.
Can I bring
We
my
will-
vodka?
You can bring whatever you want. We'll have a server or bartender to wait on us. So you don't have to serve
Oh,
yourself.
fine.
We will invite all of the individuals and then we'll put a note on back agent for everyone. That's next Wednesday. What time is it?
It's 11:15.
Ooh, any questions about design guidelines, surveys, right of way? On this historic district where I was going and this minimum lot size and minimum build line, I think you're going to see this. I see more and more of this ramping up. So I need for you to be kind of clear. Any block that is concerned about townhouse development or mega mansions or inappropriate construction or subdivision, you're going to see more and more because they don't know to do it. I'm just telling you, cities we're going to promote this. 10% of the property owners, which is next to nothing, can make an application for minimum lot size or minimum build line. When you make the application, it freezes all developer. So the first time a block comes up, this was on Goldsmith in Southgate last week or whatever, a builder buys a big lot, thinks he's gonna subdivide and put 4 townhouses or something over into Goldsmith over there. And then immediately what the neighbor can do is file for minimum lot size application, which freezes all the replats until the process goes through. And basically, The city
Until
looks,
they get those signatures of the folks.
well, once you get to the 10%, the process goes, then the city initiates the rest and does the mail out and gives the people a chance to opt in or opt out or protest or whatever. So, I mean, it only takes 10%, which like I say, you get a block at 8,
Yeah,
it's one lot, right?
Right.
And then you can have a block just the north side or the south side or the east side or the west side. So you could do one block, or you could do both sides of the street. You could virtually stop. So when a sign goes up, you file for your minimum lot size application, you stop the process of replatting until the process goes through. Now, if you don't get enough level of support, at some point, enough people have to opt in. If 51% of the people opt in and there's no opposition, it's automatic. You don't even go to the planning commission. It just is done.
Dead.
Okay? So that means 5 out of the 8 opt in, and no one opposes. Now, there is a window to oppose. If one person opposes, it automatically goes to the planning commission. What we find is the same thing we talked about in historic districts. The overwhelming majority of people don't do anything. They don't opt in, or they don't opt out, or they don't protest. So you're trying to gauge, were they for it or against it? And that's the deal. So we gauge the level of support and the level of opposition, but it is a pretty interesting way to stop the subdivision or replatting a property pretty quickly. And you'd be surprised, I mean, we have the majority of inner city, a lot of these neighborhoods are going to do it. If you don't have deed restrictions that don't allow for subdivision, North Hill, you don't have to worry about it because the minimum lot size is 5,000, they're all 5,000 square feet. So it's not like you have to go through that process. Same with Woodland Heights over there. But if you're in an area that's not overly deed restricted, it's a great way. And I would think I think it's a great tool to stop development that's undesirable in your neighborhood. And I don't think it's that restrictive to say, okay, the lot size can't be, less than this. It's not that restrictive. You can still build all kinds of stuff. Can't subdivide it. It doesn't make sense to put 9 townhouses in the middle of Bayland over there. And it destroys and it does diminish the value of the houses next door to it. I'm a huge fan of minimum lot size where the neighbors are for it. If they're not for it, let it go.
I did it for my block.
I think that's great. Okay, yes,
Emily's willing to champion the petition.
she's doing what?
She's willing to champion.
Okay, perfect. I will get with her. Okay, I'm happy to answer any questions. I want you to know about these design guidelines, so there'll be a test next Tuesday or Wednesday. Okay, that's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
These statistics we can get out to the people.
So, she.
You want to sit here?
Yeah.
You want to sit there?
No, I just need to put my coffee down.
For what?
Sit there. Okay. Aaron.
I will have that conversation with my clients.
There's levels of that.